Hey, happy Republic Day weekend, Peter.
Happy holiday, man.
Yeah, I'm just bummed that it's falling on a Sunday, so that's one less holiday in the calendar year. And that too in a year when we have one extra day. It's a leap year.
Yeah.
Ah, oh well. So since it's Republic Day, we thought that it's not fair to talk about an Indian band, and instead we look to one of our neighbors. We look to Pakistan. And surprise, surprise, it's after a really long time that Pakistan's given us something really worthwhile to talk about.
Yeah, man. I'm really, really stoked for this band. And I'm really glad we managed to get them on the podcast.
Yeah, we're talking about Takatak.
Yeah, so those
That's
of you...
such a cool name, man.
Yeah,
Takatak.
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 There's so many cool ways of saying it.
Taka.
Yeah, but these guys were first mentioned to us by Keshav Dhar on episode
Shout
24.
out to Keshav. That's episode 24. It's almost
A long
like
half.
halfway. Yeah. Wow.
We've come a long way.
We've
huh?
come a long way. Yeah. Okay. So that actually Keshav's infectious energy about this band, and he was so passionate, and he was so enthralled by this band. He's the one responsible for mixing their new album, and he was just raving about the music so much that we decided to just get in touch with them. And lo and behold, Takatak is now on Horns Up.
Yeah, man. And they have a new album, Acrophase, coming out. It's kind of strange how it works out because I've been in touch since the last time they were mentioned on the show with the Takatak boys.
Yeah.
And parallel to that, another friend of mine from Pakistan, Shahryar Poplazi, who had a label called Gas Mask Holocaust Records. So he's bringing back the record.
But that's also because of the Takatak.
Yeah.
Right? In one manner.
So it was strange that both these things were happening parallelly, and I'm talking to Shahryar about Takatak as well, and then he, out of the blue, one day messages me saying, hey, you know what? I'm bringing the label back, and the last release I'm putting out is the Takatak album. And I was like, wow.
That's huge news, which essentially kind of gives us a picture of how important Takatak is to the Pakistani metal music scene at the moment, right? Because it's been a really long time since Pakistani metal has actually been talked about.
Yeah, I mean, Dusk is the only one that kind of comes to mind who've been around past couple of decades.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, and then of course you had that entire swarm of, I don't know, hard rocky kind of projects in the middle, but it's not metal per se.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a talk for another episode. Let's bring back our focus on Takatak and cue up that interview. Here they are, Luke and Zain from Takatak. And now we have the boys from Takatak.
Before we get you guys on, right, I'm gonna put a link in the show notes of that video that somebody once put up in relation to Takatak. It's like, where did Takatak get their name? And they actually show someone like crushing goat balls.
Okay. Is that actually from where you guys got your name?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah. Takatak is like a really famous desi dish, and I mean, we formed as a band, and we didn't have a name, but we scored like a radio interview, and like the day before we were supposed to go on the interview, we were sitting with Yusuf's dad, and he was just like, "Takatak is a cool name."
And this was when?
This was 2009.
Okay, so more than 10 years ago.
And yeah, we just rakh liya humne.
And Takatak is like not exactly the goat balls dish. It could be anything, any meat or anything that you make with those spatulas that creates the sound Takatak because the way they cook it.
ab samajh mein aaya. Basically tawe pe
Yeah.
And it's
Basically.
There's a tawa, you put anything on it and you just crush it up with those two spatulas in
I
a
think
rhythm.
For the most part, it's known for the balls.
Yeah. We hope to be associated with that as well.
But man, it's so great to have both of you on the podcast. We've been talking for more than 6 months or so.
Right.
Yeah.
We covered your band thanks to Keshav Dhar, and I'm really shocked you guys have been around for so long. And Keshav, who was on from Skyharbor, who was on episode 24. He told us about you guys, and after that, it's just been, we've been chatting up and stuff like that. So, this is the first question, and I want to kick it off this way. How the hell did Keshav come across your band?
Oh, then you should take this one.
Man, I mean, like, I had been following Skyharbor and Keshav for like a very long time, and I was like a huge, all of us were huge, like Skyharbor and Keshav fanboys, and especially like, I mean, for people from like the subcontinent, when you see like either like from people from here representing in the metal scene, it's like an extra sort of a thing.
Yeah, and when I discovered Skyharbor through what was it, Guiding Lights,
right?
I didn't even know where these guys were from. It was just one of the amazing gent bands that were out, and like I just fell in love.
Yeah, so I ended up finding his Facebook profile on Facebook, and like any fanboy, I just added him, I added him. I was like, "Fuck it, मैं कर रहा हूँ." And I didn't think he'd even accept, and he accepted, and I sent him some songs, and I kept bugging him, I guess. And he's like one of the nicest, one of the kindest souls I've ever come across. So he's really helped us and guided us along the way. And I mean, he mixed that last song from the previous EP, Master Beast. And after that, when we decided we started to write this record, I just asked him, would this be like a possibility for you to be involved?
The whole thing started off with the 2 LMM songs that he watched online.
Yeah, he saw one of the videos and he was like, "When is this coming out?" And I was like, "I don't know. You want to mix it?" And he's like, "I'd be very, very, very stoked." And I mean, I think the first time Keshav replied to one of my messages, I think all of us just met at Yusuf's house and just like psyched out over the fact that
massive fangirl moment. Fanboy moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's so prolific and he's done like such crazy work for like metal in this part of in general in this part of the world and everything. So I mean, I don't know, this is this is the thing in a nutshell, I guess. And yeah, he's just somehow he's
because it's not only he's had an influence with Skyharbor, but all the other bands that he's been working with,
and he really likes you guys because he was like उसने हमें तो क्या, but everybody within earshot knew that there was something called Takatak, which is not just a snack.
Yeah.
Man, that's actually pretty nuts that you're saying that. And like, I mean, to this day, it's all very strange and trippy. All of this this is happening.
We still have trouble believing that Keshav likes us or not. He's actually such a sweet person. We like, एमी तो नहीं ये कर रहा
नहीं यार वो actually मैं like करता है. Anyways,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so you guys have been around for a decade, and that's a long time, man.
Man.
Sounds, different lineups. Crunch that story down, na? How did it start, and how did you?
Okay.
So me, Yusuf, and Misbah, our first guitar player, we met in school. And we formed as a 3-piece, and we started jamming Lamb of God songs. And we found a vocalist who was our like Shazor Bhatti from the earlier songs. And we just put out songs. We had a lot of lineup changes. We changed to bass player. We changed to guitar players. And honestly, there isn't much of a scene here in Pakistan for like metal. So it was more like mostly us just jamming in our room and just like sort of.
Initially, you guys were, I think.
You weren't in the band.
I wasn't in the band till like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So before that, you guys were like just putting out one song every 2 years, I guess.
Yeah, it was just like whenever we could, just for fun, we were doing it, and we were doing the odd gig here and there. I mean, I don't know, man.
Things started getting serious when you guys decided to do the Out of Something EP with Ibrahim
On guitars and
on guitars, and he wrote like a lot of stuff in that.
definitely. I mean, yeah, that was when that was the first time we recorded ourselves, and we sort of took that whole thing seriously. But I think
So I can't remember the
everything.
name of the track, but I was listening to your stuff on YouTube yesterday, and one of your earlier tracks is very Lamb of Godish. So
Yeah, that's
whoa, okay, this is a huge progression. So where did you guys like? Was it the evolution in sound happened with the members? Just you as individually, opening yourselves up to different kind of music and stuff like that? How did that happen?
Well, I guess the progression in sound you're hearing is probably the musical growth of each and every individual that's happening on an individual level, and the collective effect of that in the sound of the band.
Yeah, and I mean, like back in the day, like I mean, like when I was in school, the first time I heard like an Animals as Leaders song, I was like, "Ye kya hai?
Yeah, we didn't even get that stuff in the
Yeah, I was
beginning.
just like, "Mujhe late to rest chahiye. I want to listen to that stuff."
Yeah.
We back in the day,
Everybody
Takatak
went
was
through
like,
access.
in terms of a live band, we were more or less like a Lamb of God cover band. Me and Yusuf were counting. We've covered like 14 Lamb of God songs.
Yeah, you guys.
Are 14
So
Lamp of God songs worth covering?
yeah, dude, we would just play like an
I'm
hours
kidding.
No,
long
and
hour.
on even when we saw Chris Adler perform,
He didn't play
Right.
he
14
didn't
Lamp
play
of God
14
songs.
Lamb of
We used to love Lamb of God, man.
God.
But I think just like over time, we just opened ourselves up to like new music, and that just sort of क्या कहते हैं, injected itself in our playing and our writing and production, I
Yeah.
guess. So it's just been
Yeah, we
like,
didn't know about Gent back then, actually.
but Gent existed.
It did exist, but like we didn't know about it.
Yeah. Like I couldn't listen to Meshuggah back in the day.
Still don't
Okay.
listen to me.
Shut up, man.
But then what happened? How did you guys discover and like not just discover, but end up being a gen stroke progressive band?
I think we so for the it was funny because we had the last EP out of something written, and we were about to record it, and that recording just sort of got really delayed because of like life shit, delayed by like a year or so. And I do remember the earlier versions of those songs were like, I mean, the final versions aren't very genty either, but like we ended up sprinkling those things over later because that's the time when we were sort of uh, getting into Periphery and Skyharbor and Tesseract and Monuments and all these like crazy bands. So I don't know. I mean, even with the Lamb of God stuff, it was all very groove based, riffy sort of thing.
Yeah,
I
because the
don't.
groove element still carried forward.
Yeah,
The Lamb of God phase.
it just sort of happened. We never really. We're like.
I think the flipping point towards the gent side was when Ibzy and I bought those 8-string guitars, and we were like,
Right.
let's just learn these songs, these 8-string songs, and like Animals as Leaders stuff, and that actually flipped me towards
Yeah.
learning gent and playing gent. But I don't know about you, man.
I don't know, man. Like
It's a very gradual slope. We can't like have one defining point. Yeah.
Right. So you guys have been working on Acrophase for like 2 years now, and we're talking like few weeks before the release date. So how's the feeling in the camp? Are you guys nervous, excited?
Man, we're very nervous.
Nervous and excited. I mean, I don't really know how the songs will be received because it's also a massive shift in the sound of the band, and I guess
Yeah.
that's because of the lineup change as well.
And the two vocalists.
Yeah, and there's clean
and
vocals
you.
for the first time. Yep.
Clean vocals for the first time. And I mean, this is the first time we actually spent time on pre-production, right? And I mean, we essentially recorded the album before we went to track the album at Alif in Karachi.
Yeah.
So me and Luke spent like a lot of time just dissecting the stuff and like basically we wrote it over WhatsApp, I would say.
Yeah, we had our sessions, and then we would like work on those projects ourselves and then send it over. to the WhatsApp group, and somebody will work on that, and like
Yeah.
WhatsApp and we transfer.
Right. But I mean,
Internet. Zindabad.
Internet.
Internet Zindabad.
Internet Zindabad.
So I mean, but we are nervous. I think I'm very nervous.
I really can't predict how this
Yeah.
music will be.
This is
received.
also the first time we've self-produced properly as well, like committing to tones and just sort of taking those decisions as well.
First full length as well.
Full length and just doing
first
it.
time we're doing it like serious.
Yeah, for me, this is the first real Taka record, for me at least. Because the last one was I just sort of shat it out at that point because I didn't really know production. I don't know production Abibi at all, but like much better than before. And I have you. I didn't have any technical hands on board Pele. So yeah, I think nerves are kind of
the nerves are getting to us at this point.
Trust me, nobody ever knows how to produce. It's all just subjective
Jugaad. And
learning.
jugaad.
It's a lot of jugaad.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, there's been a lot of
But I'd like to give a shout out to Shahryar, aka Popo. I don't know what you guys
Mr. Popes, man.
So
I call him label chief.
Yeah, he's resurrected Gas Mask Holocaust. And that's how kind of I know him from back in the day. So it's a testament to your music for him to get the label back just to release the album.
So I have like it's so interesting and like it's cool how these things work out because back in the day when we started, Gas Mask was like in full swing. Popes was putting out all these compilations with all these sick like subcontinental bands, South Asian bands or whatnot. And I just remember we hadn't even released a song back then. And for me, it was just like, dude, if I ever end up on one of these like Gas Mask releases, that's going to be like the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. So I think it's really sick how this record, like till a few weeks ago, we had no idea this was going to happen. I just messaged Popes like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and I was just like, yo, I need some help. Like, help me figure this shit out. And he's like, let's do it. And so, I mean, props to that guy, and super grateful and for his like guidance and help to put this record out. Legend aadmi.
True that.
All right, so we've spoken a lot about Acrophase already. You've decided to release Fault Lines as the first single from Acrophase.
Right.
And let's first play that song on this.
Shit.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Talk about it a little bit. Okay?
Sick.
Okay.
टकाटक का ये कड़क गाना था.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So you've got two guest solos on the track, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
So one is Keshav, who we all know, and
Yeah.
the other is the guitarist for Wisdom Salad. So
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this kid is like absolutely nuts. He's like way younger than us. I remember the first time his bandmate just like he called me up and he's like, I didn't really know him.
Mustafa?
Mustafa called me
Okay.
and he's like, listen, I'm making music with this guy and I want you to hear it and whatnot. And then he came, brought his laptop and he played those songs. And I kid you not, I did not play guitar for like a month.
Yeah, the first time I heard their songs, like I did not feel like playing the guitar. These guys are really good.
Yeah, and I've
Like,
been like
it's
trying
weird.
trying to kick their ass for
Yeah,
the
and
past year to put out like music, but they're just
like
like
honestly, ever since I met them, these guys actually motivated me
Yeah,
to become a better guitar player.
Yeah.
To actually put in the effort of learning
He's
things
like
that you can't really play.
yeah,
Like crazy, yeah.
super talented
Dono
guy.
boys बहुत crazy. And the scene, yeah,
I mean, yeah, the whole
the
band
whole
is nuts.
band was
Yeah,
like intense.
and I mean, like it blows our collective minds that Keshav actually said yes to like a guest solo. I was like,
Yeah, we just like.
when I asked him, I thought, man, I don't know, like.
And actually, I think I forced you to ask him because
ये
I
तो
was like,
फट रही
"Hey,
थी."
what's he gonna say? He's just he'll say no. क्या हो जाएगा?
है क्या?
क्या ज्यादा क्या हो जाएगा? पूछ लेते हैं.
Yeah, but dude, like मेरा रोना निकल गया था जब मैंने like when I heard his solo, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he killed it. Like, I still can't believe that he actually played on one of our songs, let alone mixed it. So, fuck.
So tell me something. Do you guys think Fault Lines is the strongest track from this album, or is it just like the band's favorite? Or essentially, why did you choose Fault Lines as your first single?
So fault lines.
Tell them about the other song we almost chose.
Okay, so no, so first I'll tell them that every song in the album is like a different subgenre of the same genre, I guess.
Is it?
Yeah, like don't you think like
Vibes got
they
different,
all have a
Ishan.
different vibe, they all have a different like feeling to it. And I think Fault Lines is one of the heaviest.
It is the heaviest.
And we wanted to
also,
showcase
it's like
that.
the first Taka song that the other guitar player in Taka has ever written. Like, you get it?
Yeah,
Mostly, I used to write the stuff, and with you, we've been like collaborating on a lot of the songs. But this was that one song that you like. I think you had it done like 80%.
I'm
Yeah, I
sorry,
guess,
but I find it super cute that you guys refer to the band as Taka.
Yeah, it's Taka.
Taka.
It's all Taka.
Because
Taka life.
the tuck at the end is a bit too long. It's saving space.
I mean, you guys could give birth to like a subgenre of gent.
Taka metal.
Taka metal.
Taka metal. That
Yeah,
would be
bro.
sick, dude.
Okay. Chalo. Back to Fault Lines and the
Yeah.
other song which you guys
So,
almost put out as a single.
I mean, for me, this song was very special because, from like, I always had to really worry about what's happening guitar wise, yeah, bringing in the riffs and like the production of it and all that shit. Like when we were tracking Fault Lines, this was the first time that I was probably sleeping through most of the tracking.
Yeah, so while we were tracking like 18 hours a day
Mhm.
in Karachi, and shout out to like Alif.
Alef crew, we'll get
Yeah,
to
we'll
those
get
guys.
to that.
We
We'll
have
get
to
to
we
that
have to
part,
get to
but
them.
so basically, Zain was up like 20 hours. And he had
You
not
too.
slept. Yeah, me too. But like you were doing most of the tracking part, and so for Fault Lines, like Zan was on the sofa, passed out, while I was sitting there.
Yeah, and
tracking
for
the whole
me
thing.
that was a big like it just felt like we were in a very good place where like I didn't have to give a shit what you were doing. I just knew you would do it, and it's like for me it's like really special because it's you brought it in like to the band. You bada mushy or emotional sa ho raha hai. I love you,
I
Luke.
love you, bro.
I actually just looked at animation. I was like, oh my god, this is like
feeling aa gayi,
feeling
feel
aa
aa
gayi.
gayi, feel.
Feel. This is the
Feels,
feel,
bro.
Yeah, bro, you better.
So, I do believe it's the heaviest song on the record. The other song that we were like almost made the lead single was Flash Your Bones. That's the last song on the record, and it's also the poppiest thing that we've ever written. And first we were thinking that we'd come out with the poppiest tune and sort of
Yeah, that was a dilemma for us. Like, should we go for the heaviest or the catchiest song? And we didn't know. But I think Keshav also motivated us to just release the heaviest or
yeah
bas
the,
paar do sabki type.
yeah, I think वो बहुत एक वो feeling थी. Everyone had that feeling where we wanted to come out like all guns
Yeah,
blazing
yeah,
type.
exactly.
Awesome. Okay, so the whole world will look at you because you guys are from Pakistan. Give us an insight into the Pakistani metal scene, and let's start from the time you guys were growing up. तब
Okay.
कोई भी
Mm-hmm.
scene था मतलब was there anything like a metal scene or
I mean,
was
let me add more context to it because for us in
Okay.
India, the biggest thing or the most popular thing we know from Pakistan is Coke Studio, and then of
Right.
course you had the whole era of the boy
Oh.
boy bands which
not
Jal.
not just the boy bands like the rock influenced boy
Yeah.
bands you
Yeah,
could say
yeah,
so
yeah.
everybody from
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
strings
yeah.
to
Yeah.
Junoon to
For
Even
sure.
Mikal performed.
and
Right?
EP and
Yeah,
Mekal and
yeah.
all of
Everyone
these
performed
guys.
there.
So, and of course, since we are metalheads, we know of the Pakistani metal scene at like around 10 years back when there was
Dusk.
Dusk,
Something
Yeah, Dusk.
happening.
right? But actually, my story kya hai?
Yeah, so I mean, back in the day when we formed like 2009 type, or even chalo, a little before that,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had Odyssey. We had bands like Orion back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
We had a few bands in Islamabad, but I mean, I think Odyssey was like the biggest sort of क्या कहते हैं, example of
Yeah.
how you can be a metal band. Like I mean, हमारे सामने वही एक
Yeah,
थी.
that was like the
So was
standard
it like
for.
was it like city based kind of a thing? मतलब जैसे इंडिया में तुम आओगे इंडिया में the
Uh-huh.
metal capital is considered to be Bangalore, and then you have Bombay, which has its own small kind of a scene, and you have Delhi, which has its
Right.
own small kind of scene. But largely, it's these three places, and it has been these three places for the longest time.
Right.
Is like that in like is there a Karachi scene? Is there a Lahore scene? Is there an
There
Islamabad
was
scene?
always a Karachi scene. There were bands like Communal Grave that were from Karachi, but like we're from Lahore in Punjab, and the Lahori and Islamabad, which is the capital, which is not too far from Lahore, we sort of had like crossover scenes where we would like Islamabad bands would come down or we'd go there, but there was a very small group of people that were like
Coming to listen
coming to
to it.
listen, and like they were like, I mean, I can credit most of the gigs the metal gigs back then to Hassan Umar, who we call Sammy Hassan Amin. Played in band like grindcore bands like Foreskin and multinational corporations and all that stuff. And he
Yeah,
like this guy would
somebody I knew purely because he was just so out there communicating
right.
with everyone and stuff like that. So of course,
He was
shout out to him.
probably the yeah. Shout out to him, dude. We're still working with him in like a PR capacity with this record. But he was like the only guy putting up these shows, man, in like backyards, in uh, empty plots. We've played in like really messed
Yeah,
up
but
places.
like
But like
it has always
The
been a
pictures I've
very
seen of those,
underground scene.
like he's broken like his, I mean, torn up his forehead and stuff like that. That
Oh
is
yeah,
like
yeah, like
yeah,
total
yeah,
psycho
dude.
stuff.
The first Taka show was in a Gloria Jeans cafe, a very small coffee shop. We were booked to play our first show, and Hassan showed up with some of his friends, and they like literally trashed the place
Yeah,
and
they
got
they
banned
tore up
from
the
for
place.
life. I
I
have
was in the
videos.
audience.
I have videos of him just moshing on his knees in a
Yeah,
coffee
and
shop.
these
a
guys
coffee
and
shop.
the entire band was banned from that place. We aren't
Yeah.
allowed in Gloria Jeans now.
Which means
But
just like Bombay, it was essentially a small community of people
Yeah,
who really
Right.
like the music and who made the scene as such come together.
Yep,
right.
and
yep.
who caused all the destruction.
Back in the day, we would have like a good 10 bands playing on the bill, but like most of these bands weren't really serious or would put out like a song and be a band for like 2 years, do a couple of gigs, and then fizzle out. I mean, Dionysus was a band that put out a lot of original music, and they stuck around for a while.
Yeah, a long time.
A long time, but
Dementia.
All
I
these
think they're
guys.
still here.
Dementia put out a song recently, but like I mean, there's no scene there. There hasn't been like a metal gig in, I would say, a good 7-8 years. No, dude,
Uh-huh.
8 years.
And it's
I would
also
say.
because of the lack of response these bands get from the audience, I guess.
Definitely, it's the same group of people who are coming to these shows.
Yep. Yeah.
So I mean, it was a very small scene. It was very short lived. I would say we're like the only metal band that is actually doing stuff. I would love, like, we're always looking for metal bands here to play shows with. So I mean, if there are any, please contact us. Step forward. Let's gig.
Okay. And what about like metal as a music genre in itself? Getting to shows, etc. वो तो चलो, that's phase 2. But do you see in the current generation, do you see an affinity towards metal? Or like यहाँ, like to be very honest, यहाँ पे metal is not popular by a long shot. It's become rap, and it's always been Bollywood, and of course electronic music.
Man, it's funny when you say that, because like you guys still have all these metal shows, and like all the whoever's putting up the show or whatever, I mean, they know that a certain amount of people will show up, that they can it's like financially viable for them to do these things. Because
that's true.
Over here, if Taka booked a show in Lahore, our hometown,
a huge gamble for us actually, money wise. And
dude, like I don't know, 30-40 people would show up, 50 people would show up.
Yeah, we'd be sure that like 30-40 people will show up. Itni guarantee
That's actually the expected turnout of a metal gig in Bombay too.
Really?
Yeah.
But dude, we've seen videos with like
वो videos तो होंगे ही. Imagine Chris Adler यहाँ पे आके बजाया Bombay में. There were less than 100 people in that room.
That's nuts, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
that's weird. But like, you guys have all these big bands come down. वो तब क्या होता है?
नहीं, तब obviously a lot more people come, but then again, I don't know. I don't think we are spoiled for choice. It's not that, definitely, but
it's share of wallet, right?
It's share of wallet, so of course.
The kind of money you would spend on, say, going to a coffee shop or going something where else, because the cost of the ticket prices have not really gone up exponentially.
Right.
It's just that when you look at share of wallet and share of time, so if you think about it, would you want to go spend your Saturday or Sunday night at a metal gig when you see the same 40 people? So it's that kind of thing, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess it's also like
थोड़ा pessimistic हो गया.
Yeah.
but इधर उससे भी बुरा है.
इधर ये मसला है कि we can't even have a lot of gigs because of like there's some political unrest and all of that. I mean, if you give people the exposure, and if they know that there are gigs happening, they would eventually turn up and maybe like some of that music and maybe go on to attend future gigs. But like people aren't really exposed to that kind of music here as well.
It was the first metal public gig in Saudi Arabia, so there is hope.
Oh wow, that's nuts.
Okay, so wait, so 1 second. I'm trying to understand this. It stems from our exposure to music from Pakistan, because there's so much of a strong influence of what rock music is or Western music. I mean, you see it in all your past bands, Jal, Junoon, all of these guys. Even in the studio, the influence of Western music, like drums leke aao, guitar leke aao, bass, ये सब तो है ही है. So how that doesn't translate to metal, is it?
No, it does not. It doesn't even translate to like, I mean, even slightly heavy bands. Like, I mean, your EPs and your calls are also like, I mean, not as famous as they used to be. वो एक rock wave आई थी इधर. I mean, don't get me wrong. Either like there are shows happening over here. I play as a session guitar player for like many pop stars / rock stars, and they play like to 5,000-10,000 people. But those are commercial gigs, and all these people have been on like Coke Studio or all of these shows or whatnot.
Yeah, even like you mentioned the Western influence in things like Coke Studio, but there's always that Eastern fusion touch included in those songs,
Right.
which we completely lack, I guess.
Yeah.
And there's also the language thing that songs in Urdu do get greater viewership than songs in English in Pakistan. I mean,
Yeah.
and
You guys
we
ever thought of
prefer to
writing
stick with.
in Urdu?
Sorry.
Have you guys ever thought of writing in Urdu?
We have, and I think we've tried, but that was way back as well. But I don't think that works out with our sound. And
I mean, yeah, yet. I mean, I don't know. It
yeah, we
hasn't.
can go for it. Like if we find something that we like and something that's true to our sound and true to what we
Just feels
enjoy
right,
and
yeah.
feel, I guess
Like we
we'll go
don't
for it.
like we haven't outright said okay, we're never gonna do
Yeah,
an
no,
Urdu
no,
song.
no.
But
Like Punjabi can be used in metal as well.
yeah,
Like,
that would be
that
heavy
shit
as balls.
goes.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty sick, huh? Punjabi
Yeah.
heavy metal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sahil
for
Makhija ne
sure.
ek
Why
gana
not?
nikala.
Oh, yeah. But you know, I mean, I know.
Sahil Makhija, you'd know him as the Demon Stealer.
Oh yeah. He put out a Punjabi metal track.
He did that whole riffing thing.
Yeah.
Oh shit,
But
Way back.
Sahil's sick, dude.
Shout
Sorry?
out to Sahil.
Yeah, shout
Shout
out
out
to him.
Sahil, man.
Let's actually, and this is primarily us just going back and trying to compare your metal journeys.
Right.
Mhm.
What like getting into metal? Like, how did you all get into metal back in the day? Was it like a friend, an elder family member?
I went to the to like a music shop and I saw an Eminem CD and I saw a Linkin Park CD. I think it was Hybrid Theory, and I bought
Yeah.
both those CDs. And I think for me it was Linkin Park that got me into, and that sort of led me to your Korn, and then I found Metallica and Pantera and all that stuff, and it was
Right,
game
right.
over. What about you, Luke?
So I basically started off my dad used to play like country music, Hotel California, Eagles, and all of this stuff. And then going to school, my friend Timmy, he was a huge influence. He was all of that classic rock, stoner music, the Grateful Dead and Zeppelin, and he introduced all of that to me. And that that somehow just grows on. You start listening to more and more interesting stuff, and that leads me to metal. I mean, Yusuf Rame was a huge influence for me, like
In terms of metal,
in terms of
our drummer,
metal. Yeah,
shout
our
out
drummer,
Yusuf. Beast.
both drummers, like बहुत म्यूजिक सुनाया उन्होंने मुझे.
You were a total dad, वैसे back in the day.
Huh, and I guess I still am,
You are a
but
dad.
yeah, I dabble in both.
Yeah.
Both.
You're like probably the daddest dad in the band. Saver?
Yeah.
Saver doesn't know what he is. But yeah, sort of. That's our
Yeah, I mean,
intro.
It's been
Okay.
a ride, I guess.
Okay, so cool. So Takatak boys, 2020 is going to be a big year for you. You
Yeah.
have a
Hopefully.
new album
Hopefully.
coming out, right?
Yep.
What's the vision? What's the big plan? Is there a big plan?
Big plan would be just to be able to get this music out to as many people as possible and get working on the
Yeah.
next record ASAP, because we take too much time in between records. So
Yeah, we want to just reduce the amount of time it takes to write new songs and make
And-
new songs.
I think if you would ask what would we want most out of being in this band, I think we'd just want to be able to gig somewhere where people actually respond to this kind of
Yeah,
music.
where this kind of music is like feels at home.
Yeah, because it's all we do play, like kabhi kabhi we headlined Pakistan's largest independent music festival in 2018, and we're like the only metal band there. And when Zara from Lahore Music Meet called me to like book us for the headline, and she's like, "You guys want a headline?" I was like, "Are you sure you want to ruin your festival by having us headline on the last day, like be the last performance? Are you sure?" So I mean, that's like shows like that are awesome, and it's cool. It's fun to see people just like staring at you
Yeah,
wide-eyed. Ki ye
Yeah,
kya
just
ho
to
raha
sum
hai?
the whole thing up, we want to tour outside of Pakistan.
Yeah, we just want to get out of here for somebody, please.
please.
If you're
Okay, I
listening
think
to
I
us,
think
we'd love to
I think
come play India, man.
yeah, and definitely we're the closest.
Yeah, we're the closest. Just
Yeah.
Hey, dude, let us in. We want to play.
Yeah.
no, but
Okay, we'll try and do our bit too.
Man, that would be sick.
long lost
But
brothers.
I think that's the vision for now, just to somehow break out.
Yeah, just break out and like, and also to just produce the highest quality content we possibly can.
Right.
That's also part of the deal, I guess,
Yeah.
because we don't want to compromise on
And I
that.
mean, with this album, we got very lucky. With obviously having Keshav and Ermin on board for mix and master, but also having access to the I think a very huge part of why this album happened was also our good friend Umair Dar from Karachi. He plays in a band called the DA Method, and he owns a studio by the name of A for Alif. And it's like one of the sickest studios in the country. It's like
Yeah, man, I
really
haven't
well.
seen anything like that before.
Yeah, and he sort of just offered to have us come down and track our record there, and I had to say no to him like 3 times because like it was such a big offer, but he just sort of talked us into it.
Yeah,
And I think that was like the craziest part of this whole thing. We flew to Karachi for 14 days and tracked the whole thing, stayed at the studio, so it was like sort of like a dream come true, and it helped make this record sound
yeah.
really
Basically,
good.
it wouldn't have been possible if he hadn't helped us with this.
For sure,
Yeah.
definitely.
Even before the recording session, I mean, he had lended us his Kemper for
Yeah, we
like,
were writing with Guitar Rig for the past like 6 years, and it's everything just sounded like ass and like honeybees and shit.
Yeah, no offense to native instruments.
But yeah, so I mean, him giving us that Kemper for a year really that's why I think we wrote those songs, because it sounded so good. So I mean, yeah.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Thank you, man. We love you.
Okay, so here's my final question. It's been 10 years since Takatak came into existence. Is it right for me to assume that 2020 is almost like a rebirth for the band?
I would say so, yes, because when our previous guitar player Ibrahim Imdad left the band, he's like a crazy musician. He goes by the name of Gentle Robot.
Yeah.
He left the band because it was becoming too much because with work and all of that stuff. So the band wasn't in a very solid place. This was about like 4 or 5 years ago. 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah. No, I would say 4 years ago.
He wasn't
He had
actively participating 4 years ago.
The album
but he
was
actually
done. I
left
was trying
3
to
years
write.
ago.
I was trying to write a record with UC and everyone, and it was just not working out. And I was in a rut. And I think with Luke, Altamash, and Ali coming into the band, it's just like breathed new life into the band, man. It's like I said, this is the first real Taka record that this band is putting out. So yeah,
I guess.
this is a rebirth for sure.
All right, Takatak, I hope you guys have a fantastic future. And just know that you've got fans in India at the moment.
And hopefully far more after this.
No, definitely 2 new fans and hopefully a lot more.
Thank you so much for having us, man. And like this was awesome. And all of this is just wild and surreal, honestly.
Yeah, man.
How easy is it for people online to find you guys? Do you want to plug your social media handles?
Yeah, so we're on Facebook by Takatak
PK.
Takatak PK.
It's the same for all.
Takatak PK on Instagram. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Music, and basically everywhere.
Yeah, and we'll have our.
Our website is going to be up soon. We don't know what it is though. We still have to buy the server, Luke.
Okay, so yeah, website coming soon.
Website.
Near you.
So yeah. I mean, that's where you can find us, wherever they sell music.
Yes, basically at Takatak PK. Follow us
Awesome.
on Instagram.
PK.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, and a big horns up to the both of you and to the rest of the band.
And to you guys as well, man.
Boy, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude. It didn't really seem that we were doing this over Skype. They were like kind of sitting in the coffee shop with us here.
Yeah, because it was metal has no boundaries. right? And it's, of course, it's very, what do you say, not stereotypical, or very beautiful or pretty of me to mention that kind of a line, that metal has no boundaries, but it is true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think even like a year, or even when we started this podcast, did I think we'd be talking to a Pakistani band.
That to a Pakistani band which actually has very good music.
Yeah, really glad we managed to do that and catch them at the right time, and right time just before they're releasing a really good album also.
Yep, so check that album out. Let us know what you thought of it. Next week is going to be episode 50. We still don't know what we're doing on episode 50. So why don't you join us or give us some ideas? Hit us up at hornsupod.com. And till next week, horns up.
Horns up.